Welcome to Inside Voice, your behind-the-scenes take on the $150 billion home care industry. Here, it's not about the loudest voices or even polished headlines. It's about real stories, real challenges, and real insights from those shaping care every day. Join us as we cut through the noise, explore trends, and uncover what it takes to truly make a difference of the lives of those we care about. Inside Voice. Today we're talking to owners in our system who have a pretty unique backstory. They actually started out as best friends and then became coworkers before even getting into the home care industry. Isaac, he took the first leap and bought the Preferred Care at Home of Fort Lauderdale location. After seeing his early success, Ricky, he decided to get on the action too and bought Preferred Care at Home of South Miami. Fast forward 5, 6, 7 years ago to where we are today, they're running neighboring territories in the South Florida market. They lean on each other for strategies for their locations, and currently they're sitting at the top 20% of the entire system. Thanks for being on, guys. I think this is a really cool opportunity to get insight from friends, co-workers, to business owners. It's pretty unique. So you guys started from childhood friends since you guys were little, and then you became co-workers at a corporate America job selling software, and transitioned now to business owners in the same industry and under the same brand. Isaac, you were the one who first started with Preferred Care at Home and senior care. Why? What was the initial spark to get into senior care and partner with Preferred Care at Home?
Well, it started with my wife, and who was actually working for you all, working for Lauren, at the time that we started dating, or early in our married life. I was, like you said, in a software sales job that I took just because I needed a job. Studied sports administration in college, thought I'd be a football coach or athletic director or something along those lines. But when I graduated college, had a friend of my dad's who had just started this software company, heard I graduated, invited me to just come check it out. And before I left the office, he offered me a job, and I had no other plans, so I took it and ended up in this, super cool to be a part of a startup that I was like the 20th sales rep at the time. And 4 years later, when I left, there was over 100. So it was fun and exciting to be a part of that. But it was a job that, I was sitting in a cubicle 9 hours a day, just dialing and researching. And it was a job that I had one foot out the door.
You clocked in and clocked out.
Yes. Yeah. And had one foot out the door pretty much the whole time that I was there. I just didn't know what was next. Then when I started dating Val, and she started working for Lauren and Preferred Care at Home, and I'm just hearing about all the stuff that you guys are doing, that Preferred is doing. And she got to the point that as far as a lot of the day-to-day, she was really running things and was in my ear saying, hey, I really think we can do this on our own. Yeah.
So for the uninitiated, Lauren is my wife, and she was, she took over one of the corporate locations that we started. And like any good business owner, you outsource. And she got Valentina to get in there and showed her the ropes, which is Isaac's now wife. Yeah. And Val was like, wait, I'm essentially running this thing now.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Yeah. That's cool. Ricky, you followed suit not too far after.
Yeah. What
was it that something about Ricky is whenever we have something like a new vendor that we're entering into the story, Ricky's whole thing is, I'm going to be a later adopter. They always say there's third, surge, right? There's the third that they want to be the first. There's a second, third that need to see a proven concept. I think that's you.
You know what they say? The early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Okay? Think about that. It's profound.
Yeah, it is profound.
Definitely not an early adopter. I like the guinea pigs. Yeah. A lot of animal analogies here, but no, it's funny. I follow Isaac everywhere he goes. Whatever job, the software company.
Because that's where you guys work together.
Yeah. That was our first job together, like real job together.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I remember that job. Isaac had just started the first week there. And like the same exact Monday was my start day at another job that just got married, just accepted this job out of college. And when you're like finishing college, all these companies are like reaching out like, oh, we have all these amazing benefits, and I accepted it, and I was like really excited, and the first week was the worst. It was terrible. And I remember Isaac saying like, dude, we're having like a foosball tournament today, and we're all going to the pool later on Tuesday, and I'm over here just, the boss is like, if you don't make 500 calls today, you're fired. I was like, I do not want to be here. So I remember just finishing that first Friday, and I just quit. I was like, wow. I'm not doing this. And I'm talking to Isaac, and I'm like, dude, please get me this job. It sounds amazing. And he did get me an interview, and the rest is history. Started working together over there.
So what proof of concept did you need from Isaac to say, okay, you gave me the sales on the sales side, now I'm going to do the business owner side and do preferred care at home? Because you came on was it a year or so after? When was it? About a year, right? You were operational?
Like with preferred, it was probably like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was definitely less than a year.
Okay.
But yeah, same thing, just kind of watching and seeing his experience, and it honestly sounded really cool. And I have the background with my grandparents living at home, while Natalie and I were still living there, and just seeing how my parents, the not burden, but the toll it took on my parents and the need. And we did get caregivers from time to time. So it definitely struck a chord and hit home for me. And I was like, okay, this is nothing against the sales at the technology company. Like, I really did enjoy it, but just felt that missing piece that this really, felt for me.
I think the jobs that we have before this prepare us for this, like leading teams, putting together culture, hitting deadlines. The pressure of those things ultimately prepare you for operating your own business.
Yeah.
What made, and this is for both of you, what made you guys more, I guess, comfortable with doing preferred care at home and senior home care? Because Valentina had experience, but this was going to be your baby. Yeah. And that was pretty clear. Like, you're going to be the one operating this. No home care experience. Maybe you've owned businesses in the past, but to this scale, maybe not. Right? What made you both comfortable saying like, okay, we don't have the experience in this, operating in this type of industry, but we're gonna do it anyways?
For me, it was the conversations with you and Frank as we began to explore that, because I always had this ideal of being a business owner, working for myself, creating my own schedule, like those aspects. But I'm really not a visionary. I don't consider myself like an entrepreneur. And so starting something from scratch, like really, from the very beginning, all on my own, was always kind of terrifying to me. And so this idea of being able to be in a franchise and have corporate support and go, okay, they've been doing this for 30, 40 years, throughout the whole process, every question that I had, well, what about this? And how does this get handled? Like, everything had an answer, and not just an answer, but an answer that was backed by experience. And, we've already paved the way and have, 50 other locations across the country that are all successful. And just knowing, okay, like I'm not a visionary. I don't see myself as an entrepreneur and creating something from scratch, but I know that I can follow a process and really hit home on that. So that was for me to go, all right, my wife has experience. She's been running this. I'm close with the Guerrieri family. Like, I know you guys are going to hold my hand, and to see the, really a lifetime of experience that you already had in answering all of those unanswered questions that I would have had if I was starting something from scratch.
It's good. How about you,
definitely
Ricky?
Having that roadmap is instrumental. I would like to believe I could have done it by myself, but it was definitely a breeze. Just like Isaac said, following, hey, you guys had a step for everything. And when something wasn't clear, we just call you and get that answer right away. And I think also, like, we talk about it, we joke around, like there was times at the last job that we were like, that job, overall, we were super thankful for it. It taught us a lot. And I think, like, we were salespeople trying to reach, VPs of sales, CEOs of these companies. Like, we sold some large some large companies. Isaac sold Amazon.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Jeff Bezos. Cell phone. But I think just having that fake it till you make it, like, confidence was instrumental in, like, learning that at the last job. So now dealing in an industry that we both don't know much about, but just kind of instilling or continuing that, like, fake it till you make it, like, we'll figure it out. We have a great, amazing support team, corporate behind us. And then it also helped my sister as a nurse practitioner. So,
it does help.
When I, even to this day, I don't know a terminology that somebody says, hey, they have this diagnosis. And I'm like, Natalie, what is this? So that's helpful.
And I will say there's a lot, when people talk, like, go down the road of entrepreneurship, right? They try to make sure it's the right timing. It's the industry entering the right peak. Am I financially stable enough to take on this? How's my family life? I think you guys are prime examples of maybe things weren't perfect in the sense of you had a baby coming, right, Isaac? Yeah. And you as well, Ricky, or were on the roadmap of starting a new family. And so you have a lot of different stresses compounding while starting a new business that you're not familiar with. Yeah. How did that play a factor of starting a family or wanting to start a family and starting a business at the same time?
It was a crazy time. So just the timeline of ours. So my wife and I got married July of 2019. We signed the franchise agreement February of 2020. Had our first son David June of 2020, and then I left that corporate job. COVID
shuts down March.
Corporate shuts down everything March, April, and then I quit my corporate job in July. So yeah, it was definitely a crazy time where we certainly didn't have a clear picture, all the puzzle pieces together. And that is, again, shout out to my wife, because I wouldn't have taken that leap of faith without her. She very much has the mentality of, we'll just build the plane while it's in the air and figure it out. And I'm super thankful for that, because yeah, we did. But yeah, it definitely wasn't like, oh yeah, we have this clear vision of how it's all going to happen. And even the vision that we did have in February then got shaken up with COVID and everything. But honestly, even that was a bit of a blessing in disguise for me, because I wasn't able to leave the corporate job, but that put us all working remote. So then I'm sitting on the couch at home with 2 computers open and still making calls, but applying for our license and putting the Pika pieces together too. So
yeah, definitely. For us, we didn't have a kid on the way. We didn't have Jackson on the way right away, but it was, I've never struggled with depression, but I would say the first 6 months of starting this business, I got pretty close, just because I was really successful at this sales job. And then I went over to this and I was throwing everything against the wall and nothing was sticking. And I'm like, what have I done? And then, halfway, I guess, through the 6 months, we find out we're pregnant, and I'm like, I need to call my boss and ask for my job back. So, at the end of the day, it was just a lot of trusting in the Lord and just kind of dedicating. I forget who said it, one of the owners in this business were like, just dedicate your business to the Lord and you have nothing to worry about. And so started doing that, and just not giving up. I think that's the big thing. Everyone thinks they're gonna just strike gold, and I'm sure everybody's seen, if you haven't, that little meme or picture where it shows that guy that's digging a tunnel, and he's like one mine of the pickaxe away from hitting like this huge cluster of gold, and he's like walking away, or he's like giving up. And it's like, you never know, one phone call, like one day everything could change. And so just not giving up, I think it was huge. What
do you think did change? So we're 6 months in, just to kind of zoom in on that story a little bit, because I think a lot of people probably empathize with that, or are currently going through it, or that's a fear of theirs if they do something like this. Like, I'm leveraged, I'm in, I don't have my job, the circumstances in my family life have changed, and this isn't where I thought it would be. Or even if it is, it's like that thing is like, if the business is this, I'll be happy. And then it's there and it's like, well, I'm not happy, what ultimately did change? Like, you're talking about that image. What did you strike that changed?
I got to give a lot of credit to like David Peterson, because like we're the only two, we're in Miami basically.
So David Peterson's the owner of your neighboring territory.
He's just north of me, and he started just shortly after me, and we were just throwing ideas at each other all the time, like, hey, I'm doing this marketing, or I'm trying this, and we would piggyback on a lot of things, share each other's wins and failures, and that was awesome because we both started becoming successful within months of each other. Like he was going up, I was going up, and obviously now he's light years in front of me, but it's just super cool to have somebody to lean on that also is like relating. Like corporate's awesome, and you guys have helped a lot of owners, but it's cool.
You better say that.
But it's in my franchise agreement, I can't talk. But David, it was cool because other owners, like they relate with you, and they're in the trenches with you, and they encourage you, and just, I don't know, that was super comforting to just have him there.
And that's like one of the questions I actually wanted to talk about is how has the partnership of having actually nearby territories helped your guys' growth? Because when we talk about franchising and exclusive territories, a concern that a lot of people have is like, yeah, which is a right one. Like, hey, I want these markets, and like these markets need to be mine. And then we have someone moving in next to you. It's like, well, shoot, my capability of success has gone down. But in reality, like you're saying, hey, what do you attribute your success to? Finally striking gold. You're saying it's the neighboring territory that's bordering mine, and you guys are a territory apart. How has actually having a community of owners who are part of the brand helped you guys grow?
Yeah, well, I initially thought that I had made a terrible mistake because so Ricky, who's south of me, Jeff D'Souza, who's just south of me in Broward, David Peterson. Like if Preferred Care at Home were a pyramid scheme, I'd be doing really well because I've invited and kind of brought along some of it, not all due to just me, but
your story.
Yes.
I will say this. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, because even David Peterson has said to you and to the room that we're all doing this because of you, Isaac. So I think that's definitely fair to say.
Yeah. So I've brought them along, and now they've all passed me by in terms of revenue, but we're gonna get back. But
by the way, for the listeners, we're talking to two of the top 20% in the whole business. So again, very modest here.
Thanks.
But continue.
But yeah, when my buddies start buying up all the territory around me, initially I'm like, dang, I should have kept my mouth shut about this little pot of gold that I had found, and had the opportunity to buy up these surrounding territories. But I mean, I too, like, even though David Peterson will point the finger at me and say, hey, we owe this to you, like, I'll point the finger right back at David and say, no, I owe this to you. And Ricky and Jeff, like, I think there is something. I mean, we're in an amazing area in South Florida where, my territory, we have over 100,000 seniors in a 5-mile radius, which is, unique when you're looking at like the national, demographic and what territories are out there. But it's definitely a great benefit for us that we have, 5 owners, and not just owners, but young, hungry owners that are going after it and able to feed off one another. And if you look at, certainly David is, in the stratosphere, but if you look at
Amy too,
and Amy as well. But if you look at like all of us that started around the same time and our trend on the monthly report, like you'll see it all trends together. Like there's never a month where like there's 2 of us that are like way far apart. It's like, oh, these 2 went up, but this one didn't. Like, even though the numbers aren't exactly the same, if you look at just the trend line, like we've all over the last 5-6 years really been kind of growing together, just because of how,
which is counterintuitive in a way, right? Because it's like, well, no, one person's going to ultimately just grow now we're all not going to be able to grow because everyone, but you're seeing, is there anything specifically that you guys can pinpoint on the ways you guys have been able to help each other? I think that'd be interesting for the listeners. Is it sharing of caregivers? Is it co-sponsoring events? Is it just the phone call conversations of ideas that's working in your territory and it's a similar geographical region, so there is crossover there?
I think it's like, we get that monthly revenue report and we'll see like, wow, like Isaac just went up 40,000 this month. And we just like call each other and be like, yo, what are you doing differently? Or you just like, do you just land a couple lucky clients, or you doing something differently? And so we'll kind of, bounce ideas off each other, what's working, what's not working. Like we were just talking about our phone providers before this thing of like, hey, who are you using? Are you still happy with them? And he told me some cool features that they just added that my phone provider doesn't have. I'm like, that would help us be way more efficient. Yeah. So I think just
being plugged into each other.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of owners, like, I feel like the ones that aren't doing good might not be totally benefiting from that as much. And it doesn't have to be somebody right next to you, right? It could be somebody in your state or somebody in your area. But like in the beginning, I had a standing meeting with Ryan Siddons once a week for like 6 months in the very beginning. And he was so nice to just take the time. And throughout the week, I would just write down every question that came to mind because I want to be respectful of his time. And just like an hour, I would just, rapid fire questions. And you don't know if you don't ask. So it's just cool to like hear from people that have been around the block and getting, their process and how they're running.
So for those who aren't aware, Ryan Siddons is our top producer. Ryan and David Vick, top producer, and have been for many years. And what Ricky is describing is a system where even the top producers, they want to help you grow in any way possible. And now Ricky and Isaac, because of the kindness and generosity that they've seen, you guys' phones are always open for new owners, which I know of because I've just had a conversation with Ricky. I actually just had Denton's on the podcast and they name drop Ricky as one of the people who they reach out to consistently. So it's so funny how this, when you love greatly, it just starts to, cycle down. Yeah. This question is for me. So you both are.
Should I read it?
No, I'm asking this. Yeah, I'm going to ask this question and then answer it for myself.
If you want us just to ask more questions, just let us know.
Can you engage me more, please? No, this question is selfish because I want to know the answer to it. So as owners of locations that are firmly sitting in the top 20% of the entire system, if you had to look at your own daily operation, what is like one non-negotiable routine or metric that you focus on that you think sets you guys apart to be able to remain in that category?
I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Notice how I've been just slowly giving myself a few extra
That's a great question.
To render that question. And I don't know if this exactly, directly answers your question, but I feel like Google reviews, like just online presence is huge. Haven't really done much of the SEO, but just, having caregivers, having clients, just people that have done business with us, write us a review, has been huge because over the years, like it's just continued to go up where we see a lot more organic business. And what's it's just like if you're gonna go bungee jumping, right? Are you just gonna pick the first place that you find? Like you're gonna probably do research on something that you don't have any experience with. That is a big decision, right? Like, and a big decision is who cares for mom and dad, right? So like you don't want to just go with anybody. Obviously finances are a big factor, but like you want to do a decent amount at least of research. And so when somebody just searches us, home care, I have no idea, and they just searched on Google, we tend to fall in the top half.
Sure.
So I think that's...
How many like 5-star Google reviews do you have?
We're like around 100, so not a lot. Like there are other home care agencies that have like hundreds and if not thousands, but there's a lot of business in Miami. There's a lot of business in Florida. So like I don't...
But there's a lot of home care agencies that have like 10 to 15. I would say majority.
Yeah. Yep. So that's huge because, and the other thing is like when people reach out to us organically that way, I don't have to sell it. Like I really don't. It's just the
credibility has been established.
Yeah, they see like, wow. And I had somebody a couple months ago that reached out to us from Google and we had a conversation and then she went on our Google reviews after because I send that in the email just so like they can feel more comfortable. And she goes, wow, like this person that left your review, I went to high school with them.
Stop.
And I'm really connected with her. And she left the longest review. She left like a 7-8 paragraph review.
Come on.
And like she didn't sign up with us because her parents aren't ready, but like she basically said like, when we're ready, we're gonna call you. So like that was kind of cool.
That is really cool. That's awesome. Google reviews. We just had a podcast with Emily, which I know she asked you if you listened to it. The answer was not yet.
She asked me if I listened to it, and I said, yes, I listened to your weekly dish thing. I thought that's what she was talking about.
Anyway, she said something about Google. She says, Google loves what consumers love. Talking about SEO optimization, further agreeing with your point there. Google reviews matter. Isaac, how about you?
For me, it's prayer. Like, dude, if I'm going to point to one thing that keeps us in the 20% or keeps us successful, it's prayer. So those of y'all that don't know me, I'm a believer in the God of the Bible, believer in Jesus, and that he is who he said he was. And it's where all my faith is, the most important part of my life by far. And, thankfully our administrative staff aligns with me in those beliefs, and it's a part of their job description that they're praying for our business, that they're praying for our clients by name, that they're praying for our caregivers by name. And dude, throughout the whole journey, I think it was Frank that told me that you can tell the success of somebody's business by the calluses on their knees, meaning if they're spending time on their knees in prayer. And certainly I'm not going to ever preach a prosperity gospel, or that you have to, if you align yourself with Jesus or the teachings of the Bible, that then your life is going to be all great and dandy, or he's going to bless your life, because who knows, you might have a life like Paul where you get shipwrecked and in prison and all sorts of stuff. But still, we'll say, blessed be the name of the Lord. But genuinely, I would say that prayer is that the number one thing, and like our main focus as a company when it comes to our business.
Yeah. Well, Ricky,
I'm not you go first.
Dude, I'm not trying to Jesus juke you at all or anything. It's just like, and even sitting here like debating how to answer, but that's the honest answer.
You just reminded me of something, and probably too long for this podcast, but I know you
bring it on, dude.
No. If those listening, if you haven't heard Isaac's like testimony about, just when you lost all your clients and everything.
It's coming. It's an episode. It's actually the next episode really? After this one. It's the next one.
Yeah. But it gives me goosebumps, like that whole story. Like, and it's true. Like all with this business, you can lose a lot of clients pretty quick. Yep. And you start to second guess yourself. You start to worry, start to get anxious.
And then you can gain even quicker.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yep.
Just on this note, like, whether preferred care at home or anything, like I have become a firm believer that if you are a man of God, like you should be a business owner. Like you should provide for yourself because of the dependence that it creates in you on God. I'm reading with my boys through the story of Exodus, and we're the manna from heaven, and they weren't allowed to store any of it up for the next day. And for 40 years, the Israelites eat manna from heaven that God provides for them every day, and they can't store any of it. So every day they're fully dependent on God for their next meal. And bro, that's how I've felt like through my entire, like every week I just feel this dependency on the Lord to provide for my family, to provide for my staff, to provide for my caregivers, to provide for our, to provide great caregivers for our clients. And like my relationship with the Lord has increased so much because of preferred care at home, because of being a business owner, because of the just
dependency.
Yeah.
Like, yes, required.
Total dependency required.
So good. So good. Guys, we're officially heading into the late 2020s. It's like,
what does that make us?
That makes you guys pretty much business owners for a decade almost here in the next handful of years.
It's crazy.
When you look at the landscape today, what makes you most excited about the future of senior care? And how established your guys' businesses are allow you to take advantage of it in a location like South Florida?
I think technology. We were talking about some ideas, last night of just some advancements, and AI is like a scary thing. But, I've started using a lot more, and there's definitely some amazing benefits from it. So yeah, I just think everything is about being the most efficient possible, just finding the caregiver as fast as possible, making sure that the senior has care, no call outs, no lack of shifts missed. So where does that intersection meet between, home care and, technology? Cause it's grown pretty quick.
Yeah. One of the things that I think we were discussing, was the fact that AI, first, we're in a human business. Like, that's never going to change. But AI allows us to do a lot of the mundane things, streamline it, do it quicker, which reduces overhead. We start talking about like value-based care, like we were talking about last night. How do we lower the cost of care for our clientele when the price of labor is increasing with inflation and everything like that? And like, that was really, really great even a year ago. Like, I don't really see that's actually becoming a possibility now, to Ricky's point, with AI, which is exciting, I think, as these baby boomers are starting to age past the 80 mark.
If you think about it, to your point, if technology, AI is getting better and it takes some mundane tasks off of our plate, that's more time, talking with clients. That's more time, making sure our staff is, fully equipped. Maybe that means paying caregivers more, so where, they're happier in the client's home and doing a better job. They're not quitting. They're not calling off.
Right.
So it really does affect multiple levels.
Yeah.
Leaning into that is important in our space.
Yeah.
For those reasons. Exactly. Go ahead.
The technology aspect that I'm really excited about is like our main person, Diana. She's our director of operations and wears essentially every hat within the company except marketing. And we hired her as a recruiter, and she did that for 2 weeks and was like, okay, this is boring. What else can I do? And just over the last year, we've just given her more and more responsibility, and she just continues to take on more and more. And honestly, right now, one of the things that the main reason that I really want to grow our company is so that I can pay Diana more, because she's just awesome and deserves it.
You hear that, Diana?
Yeah. Clip it.
Yeah. But like, because she handles so many roles, like there's this big portion of her job that is like button clicking, and I'm really excited about like some of the advancements that I'm seeing with AI, where I'm hoping to be able to take all of that off of her plate, because like it is so great at the big picture of her job that I want to be able to free up her time so that she's not having to handle that half of her work week isn't just this like mundane button clicking, and she can get on to bigger picture items.
Sure. That's good. All right, last question for you guys. This has been good stuff, but this is for the desiring entrepreneur, the prospective person that wants to get into the senior care business, or even just start their own business, right? It doesn't need to be in this industry. So if someone's listening to this right now, sitting in the exact same position you were a few years ago, 2019, right before you guys got into this business, wanting to make a change but hesitant, what's the biggest reason you'd tell them to bet on themselves, knowing what you know now?
Something this is just what first comes to mind. I don't know that it'd be the main reason, but the question that I hear like a lot on social media when this question gets asked, that I definitely agree with, is like, what is the worst case scenario? Like the worst case, if you're like working a 9-to-5 desk job that you hate and feel like there's got to be something more, and you're just not willing to like take the risk, take the leap of faith, like what is the worst case scenario? It's that it doesn't work out, and then you go back to that job or something similar. So like if you're already sitting there in what is your worst case scenario, like I've been given this idea to put your thoughts on trial That dependency on the Lord that I talk about, I also deal with like being anxious and stressing out over, all the minor details. But somebody gave me this tool to just put your thoughts on trial. Like whatever that thought is of like, whatever you're scared about, just put it on trial in your mind and argue both sides of it all the way down to the bottom of like, what is like the actual worst case scenario that happens. And for me, like that was like, if I, taking the risk to leave the corporate America job that I have, going out and doing this, like worst case scenario was that I lose the franchise fee and then I'm back, working that job. But the risk reward of, the potential, like what could be there, is what I've always, wanted, which was to be able to be around my kids. My dad was a football coach his whole life. Majority of my life, he was gone before I woke up. He got back home after I'd already gone to sleep. And you told me a story of, playing tennis and looking up at the stands at your dad, and he might be on the phone, might be talking to caregivers or putting out fires, but he was there. And that was what I wanted for my family. And I actually had a moment. So I have 2 boys, they're 5 and 6. They just played their first season of T-ball. I was their head coach. And one day when I was coaching, I had to take a work call. So I'm coaching the boys, my phone rings, it's a call I have to take. So I step away and I'm standing there talking on the phone, and it all, like, the conversation from 6 years ago, like, all came back. I got super emotional. I had to get off the call because I was like that was it. Like that conversation that happened 6 years ago, where I went, okay, like I'm gonna do it. Now, like, here it is in fruition, like actually happening.
It's so cool.
And so to me, when you look at like what's the potential reward or what's worst case scenario, and like most often I think worst case scenario is not as bad as people think that it could be.
It's good.
So,
and Isaac, another tidbit to that is Isaac's coaching football with his dad. He's head coach, and now he gets to help, assistant coach or whatever you are. So it's kind of cool. This job has freed you up not only to coach your sons, but to spend more time with your dad. Yeah. And I think that's just so cool.
That's a really good point, Ricky.
yeah, dude.
My answer is really similar. One of my favorite books that really opened my eyes is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you read that one?
Yeah.
And just talks about, the 2 dads, the dad and the father-in-law, of just, one just worked the 9 to 5, get the education, get a mortgage, don't spend a lot, Dave Ramsey sort of style. And then the other guy was like, getting as much debt as possible and leverage that, and don't, start your own business and don't work for the man, work for yourself. And, it kind of goes against what, most people, think as far as a successful career. And I knew very early on I didn't want to do the 9 to 5. I knew it was instrumental to do some of it in the beginning to really, like we talked about, that confidence, learning to talk to business owners, I think really, really
equipped you.
Yeah, totally. But going back to the family, wanted to spend a ton of time with my kids. We love traveling.
Well, fun fact about you, Ricky, is you were really good at both of you were really good at your jobs. Ricky, you were really good at your jobs, so much so that you would get promotions, and some of the times you'd say, instead of a pay raise, can I get more PTO, vacation? Is that?
Dude, my director, he was like, listen, we're giving like bonuses and all this stuff, and I'm like, I got this hunting trip to Texas and I haven't put it in PTO yet. Can I just get that like paid? And he's like, sure. And then did it and got
so
it.
that was a huge desire for you, even before PTO, kids and all that.
I was known around the office as like the guy that just does a lot of PTO because
and in the preferred care at home franchise system. Yeah, that hasn't changed much.
No, it hasn't. But like that's the reason. It wasn't about the money for me. Obviously.
Sorry, Rudy.
But it was about the flexibility and about being able to travel and spend time with my family. Like that, it was one of the things that really caught my eye early on. So yeah, that's the cool thing, just being able to work anywhere we go. We spent half the year in Tennessee, not far from here, and it's great. It's honestly, I couldn't write it up any better myself. So.
Love it. Guys, this has been a fun episode. I thank you for being on and being vulnerable and honest, and just the insights I think are very valuable. So thanks for being on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, hitting that like button really helps the channel grow. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop. We're here every other Wednesday at 8 a.m. sharp. See you in the next one.